Hey everyone, hope y'all are doing well. Hope everyone's staying safe out there. So I've got here an EVVA 3KS. This is a Euro cylinder style. This is a modular Euro that has been split. Not necessarily split, but this is just one side of it. This is going to be another video about picking slider locks. I demonstrated how to pick that on-guard bike lock in a previous video, and I'm going to go a little bit more in depth with sliders on this video. Now, this is another EVVA 3KS. This lock has 6 sliders on either side, so for a total of 12, and a sidebar on either side. And typically your slider key isn't going to look this complicated. You generally would just have like one of these squiggly lines running down the side of the key. This one has 3 because it has 2 different types of sliders in it. Some of the sliders have one large nub sticking out, which follows the deep path, and then other sliders have 2 shallow nubs sticking out that follow these parallel grooves here, which are more shallow than the deep one. This also has false gates, which makes it more difficult to pick, but I will go over how to tell the difference between the true and false gates. I'll do my best to explain what I'm doing. Just wanted to show you what the key looks like. I don't have a key to this one. This key actually doesn't even fit in. It's a different keyway. But unfortunately, I wish I had a key because it makes it a lot easier to take it apart. So once I'm done picking it, you'll get to see me struggle taking it apart as well. So the majority of slider locks can be picked with just standard hooks, but it does make it easier if you make a special slider pick. Now let's see if I can get a close-up on this thing. I don't know how well you can see the... Oh, let me get closer here. So the tip there is cut at a V pretty much. So what that does is I can stick that slider nub in there and jiggle it to test to see if it's in a true gate or not. This one is made out of a 15 thousandths pick, where I've offset the tip as well so that I can bypass the sliders in the front to get to ones that are in the back, because this thing does not have a whole lot of room to work in the keyway. So also another trick with these, if you have the ability, if you can get a light down the keyway, it helps greatly with these. I don't have a light at the moment, so I'm going to try to use my lighting setup here to be able to see down the keyway. I'll do my best not to let that interfere with the video. Let's see what I can do here. I think that ought to work. I'll do my best here. Alright, so basically what I'm going to be doing is, if you can see those nubs in there, I'll be putting tension on the lock, going in and grabbing those nubs with the pick, and you can see how I'm moving that one up and down by sticking that V in there. And then when I get it to where it clicks into place, I'll move on to another one and try to move it. This is one of those parallel ones. As you can see, there's two nubs sticking out. Once they're all in a gate, I'll go through, grab them, and see if I can wiggle them at all. And if there's any wiggle movement, that means it's where it needs to be. If it doesn't wiggle, then I need to move it into a different gate until it does wiggle. And the further you go, you will end up with some that are jiggling, starting to not jiggle later on. When you get further and further into the lock, you'll find that they're actually in false gates to where they were jiggling before, but now the false gates bottomed out and there's no more wiggle room. So without further ado, let me go ahead and try to get this thing opened. So first I'm going to start out by moving all the sliders to the lowest possible position, and we're going to go from there. Alright, one clicked into place. Two on the left is jiggling. 3 on the left is now jiggling. 4 is binding. Moved it up and it is now jiggling. Alright, so far I think we are all in a gate. Oh, there's one that's frozen. Oh, that's moving a bit. There we go. Alright, number 6. Oh no, that was 5. Got that to move. I think that is now in a gate. Alright, let's start on the other side. Yep, 1 is completely free. 2 is jiggly. It's not very easy to get this pick in there and move it around. There's a lot of slider nubs in the way. I'm going to switch to a top of the keyway tensioner for now. Now this lock has sliders that do not have springs, so you can let go of tension like this without undoing the work you've already done. Sometimes things do move a little, like that did. Actually, I'm not sure if that moved or if I just moved it into a bad spot. No, it's wiggling. Yeah, okay, I think I moved that into a better spot. Like I said, as we progress, we'll find that things that felt good initially no longer do. There's something that I shouldn't have. There we go. Did it again. It's really hard to move some of these sliders without moving others. The ones with the double nubs can be awesome because if you have a hard time grabbing one, you can try for the other one. But then the singles actually stick out a lot further, so they tend to be easier to grab. Yeah, that one's not moving at all. Okay, I think that one's up top there. Okay, that one's wiggling. That one's not moving. Feels like it is now. That one's definitely not. There we go. A lot of times when I set a slider, I'll go back and check all the other ones on that side because you set one and it'll mess other ones up, or you'll find that they no longer feel like they're where they need to be. And also want to always keep going back and checking the left side. Make sure I haven't screwed anything up there, or nothing's moved out of the way. Like right here, there's something that was jiggling before, but now is not. Feels like it is now, but I don't know if I like that. Feels like the gate in number 1 is really wide. I'll bet when I open this up, there will be some master keying in there. Alright, 1 just started binding and it was not binding before. That one's all the way up. It's also kind of hard to set the really high set ones when you got a top of the keyway tensioner in there because it blocks the pick. Alright, we are getting close. This is the hard part, not screwing anything up and finding the last couple binders. It's so easy to bump those sliders out of the way. Come on. That one might have to go up pretty high. There we go. Oh, damn it. I knocked something hard out of the way. Something important. Number one on the right is no longer binding the way it was. Oh, there we go, it's back. But I'm not gonna line this time. There we go. There it is. All right. It took a little while, but it's all good. All right. Now for the fun part. Well, not really. That was the fun part, but I'm trying to get this thing gutted. It's not an easy process by any means. Like I said, the problem with this thing is if you have the key, the way you gut it is you put the key and then pull it back out, and that centers all of the sliders. But without a key, it is not easy to center all of the sliders. So you basically have to do your best, but kind of try to pick the thing in your hand like this. Try to get everything in the right place. Find out which one's binding and move it. There we go. All right. So I am more than willing to bet we've got some master keying in here, but before we worry about any of that, let's go ahead and take a look at what this thing's made of. So we've got a top bar here. This interacts with the top of the key, and that is purely for key control. It is a purely passive mechanism. We've got both of our sidebars, and these are a very interesting sidebar. There's a lot of stuff to them. So if you look, it's a double sidebar, and when I show you the sliders, I'll show you why that is. This L part in the front actually protrudes into the keyway and grabs hold of the key. When the lock is open, it's the key retaining mechanism for this lock. That was the other sidebar. And then let's start getting sliders out here. So I guess starting from, well, I've got that way, so yeah, I can do it like this. Why not? Just have to remember how I put it in. It's number one, and I'll bet we've got, yep, look at that insanely wide gate on that thing. So that is a mastered slider. Oh, got sliders falling out. Figure out where that came from. Number 1, 2, 3, 4. That is just your normal gate. So that's what the gates normally look like. You got your two true gates there, and then your false gate there. And that's why you have the double sidebar, because it actually fits in both of those true gates. There's number 2. That's another standard and or normal slider. Number 3, another normal one. Then we've got 5, which is another mastered slider. See that you still have that false gate, but the true gate is super wide, which gives it a lot more movement and allows for master keying. Alright, now let's move to the other row. Number 1. I think number 1 on this side is mastered as well. I think. Nope. Maybe it was number 2? I don't know. I thought one of these was mastered. Yep, so that is the other type of mastered slider. So you see there are a false gate, but then there's 3 true gates there. So that allows the sidebar to fit in either these 2 or these 2. And these things are easier to pick when they're mastered because you have more opportunities to hit the correct gate. But these are still not a very easy pick by any means because you don't have a lot of room in there. Alright, now there's one more thing on the core here. And I'm not sure what this is for. So you've got these channels here, and then you've got this back channel, and there's a ball bearing right here. And I genuinely do not know what that's for. It's in the back of the lock, so it's not for drill protection. It might be like a key stop. It's very possible that it's a key stop. But you've got this bar that's pressed into place here that holds that ball bearing in. And I just don't really understand what's going on with that. If anybody knows, please leave it in the comments. I find it very interesting. And you've got a couple places here for drill protection that there's nothing in, unless I dropped it. No, I didn't. Then you've got drill protection there. And there. Pretty interesting core. So, the way these sidebars work, as I was just mentioning, is you have the two true gates, and that sidebar will fit in just like that. And if you look, there's a little bit, oops, these aren't the best tweezers for this. There's a little bit of wiggle room, just a little bit, and it gives you just enough that you can actually wiggle those sliders and see if you're in the right gate. Now, if you're in the false gate, oops, at first it might wiggle because it's got a little bit of play, but then as you pick more and more and it binds tighter and tighter and you move further into the mechanism, it'll eventually bind up on that false gate like that, and it'll push so hard that it doesn't wiggle anymore. But then with these mastered sliders, this allows for either there or there on the key, and you get a lot of wiggle room there. Now with the mastered sliders, these ones are actually a little better because you still have that or that, but you don't have that gigantic area. But what this does is the master is a little bit further apart on this one than it is on the other one. So anyway, I hope that helps anyone trying to pick these slider style locks. And oh well, I guess I can show the pick biting into. So what this does, when you make that little V, what you're doing is it's so you can grab onto this right here and manipulate the slider up and down, or wiggle. But that's it. All right, hope that helps anyone trying to pick these, and long video, but have a wonderful time, stay safe, take care, and I will see you on the next one. All right, see ya.